Hi guys, a very warm welcome back to A Cup of Cozy. We are so excited for today's show because we have got the gorgeous Zoe Luscombe joining us today. Hi Zoe, how are you?
Good, thank you. Apologies about my voice. I feel like I need to say from the outset
No,
that
don't worry,
You
we
know
love
what, your
having a
voice is
guest.
usually like
fine, but you
this.
said that it's probably because you were screaming at the kids
Yeah,
at
I was at
Centre
Centre
Parks
Parks
all
all weekend, so yeah, all screaming going down the rapids and all of that. One of the two,
Well, you've done
probably a
well to even have a
combination.
voice at all, so
Yeah,
well done.
thanks.
But of course, you do. We're going to get onto that, the fact that you are a mum of three.
Yeah.
But you are also a business owner as well, aren't you?
Yes.
So tell us
Yeah.
about that.
Wow, where do I start? I wasn't always like self-employed. I've had like many employed jobs out of uni, but kind of never found
Found your
the
thing.
path
Yeah.
that like I really like was good at. I felt like I was always just failing at everything that I tried before when
Yeah.
I was employed. And then eventually I was like, right, I'm gonna go into personal training because it was like my passion at the time, was really into it. And I thought, well, if I do something that I love, hopefully everything else will fall into place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they always say,
Yeah,
isn't
they
it?
do,
Yeah,
don't
do what
they?
you
Something
love and the money will come,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, yeah, I started out as a PT. And then it was when I had Louis, my eldest, that I was kind of like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do after this, how it's all going to work, because I was working in a gym at the time.
Well, yeah, and then being pregnant, obviously your body's changing.
Yeah.
But did you stay as a PT throughout your
I
pregnancy?
did, and I actually feel like my career got so much better once I got
Oh, wow.
pregnant and had Louis. Because before I had him, I was like a PT, but I didn't really have like a niche. I was mainly training people before they started work and after they finished work and on weekends. So it was really like unsociable hours, which I feel like, at the start of your career, you know you're going to have to do like
Yeah.
the hours that nobody else
Yeah,
really
put the
wants to
graft
do.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was training like men, like young girls, some like girls who were like 16 still at school. And
Yeah.
it was great because there's like lots of variety. But once I got pregnant, I started Mamabod Squad, which was just like a group of 6 women who I found on Instagram. They were all pregnant. I was pregnant too. All just happened to be like first time mums. And we like went through the pregnancy together. And then they were like, "Are you going to carry this on, like afterwards?" And I was like, "I think so." So yeah, it kind of just naturally went from there that I went into really training pregnant
found your
women
niche that
and
way,
like
maybe.
mums, and
Yeah,
got the
so
niche.
good.
So you did it sort of for the community originally.
Yeah, like I wanted that. Because I'm not from round here. I didn't really have that many friends, didn't know that many people. Didn't know any other mums. I was one of the first of like all my friends to get pregnant. My sister had had a baby like the year before, but she doesn't live close by, so I really felt like I just needed other mums to like talk to about what was going on. So
Kind
I
of
really created it for
you created
myself.
your own like
So
pregnancy group, really,
Yeah.
but like combining it with fitness, which is obviously what you do as a job and love.
Yeah. So
Love
it was like ideal, really. And then rather than going back to that gym, I then started training people in my garage, and did that for quite a while. And it was really like basic in the garage. I still had like paint, and the lawnmower was still in there at one
Oh, your
point, and
household
Yeah, I
things that
love
you
just
it.
shove in the
Aldi
garage.
weights and
Yeah.
stuff. It was like
Yeah.
really basic, but I didn't charge too much. And
No.
like it was like a little sanctuary in that little room where anybody could say whatever they were feeling, mums especially, they would
Yeah.
come with their baby in their like little snowsuit, put them in the
Yeah.
bouncer, and we would train. It was just lovely.
So good.
And then I got to a point where I needed a new space for Mamabod Squad because that had grown. So I started that at Red House, the barn
Yeah.
on the farm, which was
Yeah.
outside at first, like in this big outdoor barn. And then again, organically, it kind of grew from there.
Because there was a need, basically.
Yeah.
Like people just needed it. And
Yeah.
especially with the, what is it called again? Mamabod Squad.
Mamabod Squad, yeah. So I think it was, especially then, there was nowhere that you could really go to work out with your baby. I think things have like moved on a lot since then.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think as well, especially with gyms, because a lot of people and a lot of my friends have said they've always been put off the gym because there's been like this show thing, and it's a bit like
Yeah.
you've got to look good
Yeah.
The right
at the gym.
outfit
Whereas
or-
that's
yeah.
not the one when you're a new mum and
No.
you've got a baby and you're looking what you feel like you're looking
Yeah.
your worst you've ever felt.
Yeah.
You want to do something
Yeah.
about it, but you don't want to be judged.
Yeah.
I
And
think
obviously you've got the
it's,
pressure of what you do with your baby.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
mainly like what do you do with your baby half the time when you want to go to the gym? Like I just couldn't go.
You
I-
just
I
don't.
just
Or
didn't
you,
didn't.
or you
either.
work
I
out.
didn't.
They
because I
say
couldn't.
work out at home, but actually,
Yeah.
when you're really, really sleep deprived
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
you've
Well, you
got
find
a
other
pile of
things.
washing to put on,
Yeah.
and you think, oh, am I really going to go onto YouTube and put a workout video
Yeah.
on now? Like you don't.
Yeah.
Whereas if you know
No.
you go into a space where there's other mums in the same position, you're going to have a bit of a chat.
Yeah.
Like
And also,
a
you know, your
coffee.
mood's going to be
have it.
lifted
Yeah.
by being with another mum as well. It's
Yeah.
not going to be like this harsh, having to get it done thing. It's
Yeah.
almost like a chilled,
Yeah.
you know,
It's the
feel good.
community aspect is like
Yeah.
just as important as the workout. It's like a double whammy really of like the endorphin that you get from like working out
Yeah.
from the exercise, but then also like the community aspect of like being able to share with other people and make friends and stuff.
Yeah,
So
there is a couple of like big name gyms that have a creche, and they're just not many of them around. Like
No.
the nearest one to me is like 45 minutes one way, and then I know some of my friends who live up north. There's one near them, and that was their answer. We go to the gym and we put the babies in the creche for like an hour and we
Yeah.
work out. But I didn't have that,
yeah.
so that like what you set up is like
Yeah.
I feel like we need one of them in every single town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I mean, that would be the dream, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah,
love
to
Come on, there you go.
to do that,
That's your
yeah.
business plan.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
town by next year.
I
It has
know.
totally crossed my mind before, like to think of how we could do
How
that.
can we grow
Yeah.
and escalate? Yeah.
Yeah, because it is like, I think for me, I know what I got from it. So I think it would be so nice.
I know
for-
what I've missed out on really because
I
I
know.
didn't have
Me
a
too.
solution.
Yeah, yeah,
So good. Now, obviously, you've had 3 kids.
yeah.
So this happened after your first, Louis.
Yes.
And we were talking earlier about like the time off. Oh, I
Mhm.
hate that phrase, time off.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
To have a
maternity leave
child.
time off.
Yeah.
Holiday. But how did you navigate having a business after having
the
your
time.
first? And obviously trying to keep your business going, trying to keep your business not only going, but thrive and get
Yeah.
bigger and grow your business while having a baby, let alone another 2, Zoe.
Yeah.
Share it with us.
Yeah.
Tell
It's
us your
tough,
tip.
isn't it? I feel like there's no tips that like if you find out, please tell me, because I feel like we all just wing it. You just do it, don't
Yeah.
you, and get through. But with Louis, I feel like I was just winging it completely.
Yeah.
Like I was still working those like later hours in the garage when I'd first had him.
Yeah.
It was only kind of when he was about 1 that we then took over the barn and made it like the body club.
Mm.
Sorry.
No, don't worry.
So yeah, I definitely did take a little bit of time with him, but it was very much like I was still trying to make a bit of money while like looking after him, still doing Mamabod Squad in the garage. Started doing like mama tops and selling them on Etsy.
Wow.
Just like getting them printed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did a bit of dog sitting. I felt like I was really like at that time scrambling for like just to
And this
generate
was
an
in
income.
like the first 9, like in what somebody would say they
was
have
really
9
young.
months maternity. This was
Mm.
in that
Yeah, all
space.
in that time, yeah.
Yeah.
It was tough. Like I do look back and think like I definitely didn't get that like
No.
baby bubble that
No.
people talk
No,
about when they get a
totally.
real
They just have-
maternity leave and they
yeah.
don't have to think or
Days
stress
on the
about work.
sofa where they watch films and
Yeah,
they just have
just
a
watching
relaxed
films all day
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. Which
And because you're also thinking like I've got clients that how long are they going to stay loyal to me? Like they might go elsewhere.
Yeah.
I know it's probably the same for people who like who just do a service with clients, like
Yeah.
nail
beautician,
technicians, like
yeah.
all of that. Like they probably also have that worry of like, I want to really enjoy this maternity leave, but are my clients going to have to go elsewhere? And
Yeah.
will they
Yeah.
like them more?
So it's
will
felt
they
like
come
a
back to me?
pressure, isn't
Yeah,
it?
such pressure to always be like on the hamster wheel, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Um,
People, well, if you say like I'm going off for like 6 to 9 months, well, people can't wait for that. So then
Yeah.
that's when they find replacements. So when it's your own business, you have to always have one foot in the door with it.
Yeah. And it's twofold, really, isn't it? Because you're thinking one about that, like keeping your business actually afloat and going, but also like financially, like
Yeah.
you have to
have
keep
money
bringing
coming
something in
in.
because you don't have the maternity leave allowance that you would get if you worked for a company.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Like,
No.
I can't really remember what it is that you get from the government. It's something like
700
It was 700 and
something
like
pounds
720 or something like
Yeah.
that.
A month?
Yeah.
a month.
A month, yeah.
I know.
I feel like it's less than that.
Mine was like 300 and something every 2 weeks when I was on self-employed maternity.
Was
Right.
it?
So it's
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like
different,
300
isn't it?
and something every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it
I
was
think
just,
I
700
just
and
feel like
something.
remembering thinking like, how is
How am I
anybody
actually gonna live?
surviving on this
Yeah.
amount of money because it barely covers like the food
Yeah.
shop.
Totally.
yeah,
Um,
that's exactly it. Yeah.
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 I know.
And how I always thought it was like, if you take your foot off, there's nothing going to be waiting for you at the end of, like, if I have all these like days where I'm literally just focused on being a mum and the baby,
Which is a job
which
in
is
itself.
Yeah.
the massive full-time
Yeah.
job. And but bear in mind, you're not sleeping, you're not looking after yourself very well. But then there's going to be no job waiting for me after 9 months because I've not been doing the work. So
Yeah.
that was like, I mean,
You'd have to start from scratch
yeah.
essentially.
And when I look back at both of my maternity leaves, I do think like, I kind of hate it in a way that it had to be like that. But
Yeah.
I chose to be self-employed and be
Yeah.
freelance, and that's kind of choosing that life.
Yeah.
And was that something that you was thinking like, I've got to do this, I've got to make it work because this is the future for me as a mom. Like then I can have the
Absolutely.
flexibility later on, and I can
Yeah.
be my own boss, which is ultimately what you wanted.
Yeah, I was actually talking to some friends about it not long ago. And we were talking about how much childcare costs.
Oh my God, I
Oh,
know.
God.
It's obviously like extortionate. Anybody who
Yeah.
has kids knows like the cost of childcare
Yeah.
and how the 33 hours doesn't actually mean
Doesn't mean the
33
perfect- no,
hours.
no.
Like
But today's mums have got it a little bit better, haven't they, with it coming in place
it
when they're
comes
9 months.
earlier,
Yeah.
which is great.
which
But
is good,
then
but-
depending on the area that you're in, the
Yeah.
deductibles at my
The
nursery
yeah,
are
the
£19 a
deductibles,
day.
Yeah.
And so that's £19
Yeah.
without like
And
that
then,
you're not.
yeah, then there's the term time and then rolling over for the full year, and
Yeah.
that takes it back. Yeah,
You're still
it's-
paying an awful
yeah.
lot of money considering it's 33 hours.
But it's
Yeah.
not that headline. That's like
Yeah.
a
For
headline,
lunch,
isn't
yeah.
it? It's not the real
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And so they're like, and especially if you've got 2 children under 2, which I did with my 2 youngest, when they're both in nursery,
Yep.
it
the
is
double
like
fees.
the amount that you make actually, well, depending on how well you
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
it actually, you're just
Yeah.
working to pay your childcare
Well, a lot of
fees.
my friends who do that, where they pay for the nursery,
Mm.
I've asked before, like, why on earth do you do that? And they said, Dad, they do it for their own mental health.
So
Yeah.
So they
I
just
think
go
it's
to work for
definitely
that.
Yeah.
It's
because
actually a day off.
being a stay-at-home mum with 2 under
It's too
2
mu-
is
too
way
hard.
harder
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
than
that
work.
is
Like
so
100%.
much harder.
Like
Yeah.
hats off to anybody who does that.
Yeah, my work
Um,
days are such easier days.
yeah.
than
Oh,
looking
no,
after
mine
Yeah,
are
three
it
hands
is.
people
It's
a
a
down.
day.
break to go to work,
Hands
100%.
down, yeah.
But then it's
So
also
much
that what you
easier.
said of like, if you don't do it, then your career
Yeah.
may not be there
It's-
when you come
yeah,
back.
if
So
you don't do the work, nobody else
Yeah.
is doing it for you, so then everything stalls.
yeah, you're
So
just
it's-
keeping your foot in the door. Like
Yeah.
you are just working to stay on track so that
Yeah.
when the kids do go back to school, you're still where you were, if not like a bit progressed in your career, and you can still.
So what's the age gap then between Louis and your second?
So Louis is 7, Emmy is 4.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you left it a few years then,
Yeah.
in between. And is that obviously through, did you want to sort of, because we were discussing, weren't we, earlier, about getting your life back a bit after having a
Yeah.
baby and then choosing
Yeah.
to have another?
Yeah.
Or do you plan,
Yeah.
and I know you can't always
Can't always plan, yeah.
of course, but you plan to have them close together
Mm.
like you did, didn't you? For
Yeah,
your
mine was
different
2 years.
reasons. 2
Yeah.
years, that's close together. To get you some sort of life
Yeah,
back. Like, did you
yeah.
have an idea in your mind, or?
Not really. So we obviously had Louis, and then I think when he was about 1, opened the gym, the studio, and
Yeah.
all of that. And then it was like lockdown 2020. So he was born 2018, then it was 2020
Yeah.
lockdown. And we'd kind of decided we'd like to try for another baby
Yeah.
around then. And we fell pregnant really quickly,
Yeah.
which is obviously amazing.
Yeah.
But then it was like a very early loss, that baby. And then it took us like 8 months of trying after that loss to get Emmy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't really the plan to have such a, but obviously 8
Yeah.
months in terms of
Just don't
trying,
know
it
what-
Totally.
isn't.
You don't
Well,
know
it
what's
felt
gonna
like very
happen.
long for me, but
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things
Yeah.
and how long some people have
Oh
to
my
try,
goodness.
it's
Yeah.
very short.
Absolutely. It's just when you're in it, you feel like
Mm.
it's ages and ages and ages.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
And then your third
And then the third was
is
a complete surprise.
surprise
Because
baby.
she was so my middle was 9 months old when
Oh,
I fell
wow.
pregnant with Bella.
Wow, Irish twins then, is that
No.
called?
Yeah, yeah, like it's
So completely unexpected.
completely unexpected,
And
yeah,
especially because
because
it
of
wasn't a
everything that we'd had
straightforward.
with Emmy.
Yeah, so we were going to go on to talk about Emmy's story separately. But with that second pregnancy, was it a totally normal pregnancy? Did you have any different issues that you didn't have with Louis and, you know,
Nothing,
that
yeah, it was
type of thing?
completely normal. Had no idea that there was really anything going on. The only thing that I would say, which is a bit of a weird thing, but I felt like she didn't sit right in my tummy. Like, I know that
Right.
sounds so strange, but I can't really describe it. But she always felt a bit uncomfortable compared to how Louis
Really?
and Bella felt.
Yeah.
Like, they felt just like they were
Which
right
is
in there. I felt like she was like
interesting,
Yeah.
as
maybe
because
hunched.
if she was your first, you wouldn't have
You
known
wouldn't have-
otherwise,
yeah.
would you?
Nothing to
But because you'd
compare
had
to.
Louis,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
know, you
Nothing to
kind
like
of
compare to.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
that's
it just felt
interesting.
different. Like she
Yeah.
sat
I
differently.
even have videos of like when I was like the day before labor where I must have been like contracting a little bit and
Yeah.
your tummy's and my tummy was in such a strange shape. Like it looked
Mm.
like a cone.
Right.
Ah,
So I always
yeah.
thought like
But not like a painful thing so much. It
no,
was
just
just
slightly uncomfortable. But
right.
that is it. Like apart from that,
Yeah.
like
So no
no
scans
bleeding,
that, like,
no
picked.
abnormal
Yeah.
scans. I had quite a few scans as well with her because Louis was classed as like a small baby. He was
Right.
6'10", so
Right.
not very small, but
No.
No,
yeah. So
they're
they
quite
made
strict
us
on that
like
though,
have
aren't
the
they, with the
extra
growth
scans because
scans?
I'd
Yeah.
had a small baby
Yeah.
first. Emmy came out not a small baby at all as well. She was like
Oh,
8 something, which
wow.
was like great because of
yeah.
everything. She
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight in the end, but yeah, absolutely no inclination of anything until she was born.
And what was the first thing that was said to you then when she was born?
So well, she came out very quickly. It was such a quick labor.
Wow.
I had like false labor for like a week leading up, being like, oh, I think this is it. Is it? Like, you know, you second guess yourself.
Yeah.
And anyway, went to bed that night. I was like 10 days overdue. So like every day
It's
I was
gonna
like,
be
come
any
on,
minute.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
now. Went to bed normal, like no feelings that I was going into labor. And then I woke up at 5:30 a.m. and I was like, wow, yes,
I know
I
what
am
this is.
in labor 100%. Woke Harry up and was like, right, let's go. So we took Louis to his grandma's house, and we literally just went straight to the hospital. I think they ran the pool. I got in, gave birth. It was like I gave birth by 8 a.m. and had the first. I woke up at
At half
5:30 a.m.
5.
Yeah, it was like
Wow.
Oh
super
my
super
That
fast.
is
word.
rapid
Just like
birth.
wrapping. Yeah, like I had gas and air. Was in the
Wow.
pool and yeah, it was
It was
quick.
quick.
Wow.
Which really, to most mums will say, fabulous.
Yeah.
Like, thank goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Get it
I was
done.
like,
Rolling
wow,
along and
like I
slow.
remember sat there with my
Think
toast and
this
being
is
like,
great.
what?
What's
Like
just
that's
happened?
it, done.
So
Like
Emmy
great.
comes out.
She came
Everything's
out.
great.
She did look like very purple, but I mean, I think that's also
Yeah.
very normal
Yeah.
from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Like she looked a bit like ill, but I
Yeah.
think
But
babies
you
when they come
thought
out, they
she's
do look a
like
bit.
just come out.
Yeah, and I remember that she was very snuffly and
Okay.
there'd been a little bit of a commotion of like, you know, when they're like hitting their backs,
Yeah.
trying to like
Right.
loosen
Yeah.
like
Loosen the
mucus and
mucus.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, is she okay? And she said, oh yeah, it's sometimes when babies come out so fast.
Yeah.
Like
That's what
you've not
happened
had
with
the
Reva. She was
squeeze to
four
like
stepped
really.
out, so she had a lot of mucus for
Yeah,
months, and they said
yeah.
that was because it was such a quick.
Yeah, so I guess
Exit.
that's what they like put it
Yeah.
down to. They're like, oh, she's just got a lot of mucus.
Yeah.
So they were trying to do that. And then they kind of like put her on me to try and feed.
Yeah.
And I was just a bit like, this doesn't really feel right. She'd been on for quite a while, and I was
Right.
like, it just doesn't
not
quite
clicking.
feel right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I breastfed Louis. I mean, had loads of issues breastfeeding him. You know, like he had a tongue tie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
it
you never
wasn't
So
know,
did you
do
think it could be like just ordinary struggles for a mum to breastfeed in the early
Yeah.
days? Like that obviously can be
Yeah.
the case for most
Like I
mums.
remember with Luke, it was very painful, and
Yeah.
like then he had the tongue tie. We got that sorted, but had all these,
Different issues.
different issues with the breastfeeding. But then with her, it was like I just couldn't really feel like that she was like suctioning.
Yeah,
if
it
that
wasn't
meant-
she wasn't like
she wasn't
latching.
latched properly.
Yeah, and because you've done it before with one baby,
Mm.
like you
Yeah.
just had this little bit of an instinct
Yeah.
that it was something wasn't right.
Yeah. And then they put us on a ward. And then like slept overnight,
Yeah.
and they kept trying to get her to latch right. And I was like, I just don't think she is. And then it was about midday.
And they didn't notice anything different. They were
No,
just
they
like,
said
keep
nothing.
trying if you're gonna,
Yeah. And yeah, they just kept going with it. And I hadn't taken any bottles to the hospital because I was like, I'm gonna breastfeed. I
Yeah.
had the toughest journey breastfeeding Louis, but we got through it and I did it. So
Yeah.
whatever it is,
We'll get through it
I'll
again.
sort it out. Yeah. And it just wasn't happening. So I was like, listen, I don't want her to be hungry. Like, can we just feed her? So they got like a little cup.
Yeah.
I've got a video still of her having her first milk, and they were like pouring it into her mouth. So it wasn't
Wow.
even a bottle.
I was picturing a syringe or something.
And
that they
was
might
that
try
No,
to
breast
it's
do
like,
milk?
it looked like,
Yeah.
do you know, the cups that you fill up your iron with?
Yeah.
Oh,
It looked like one of those.
Like a
And
little
like, I was
plastic
just
cup. And was
wondering,
it
like,
breast milk?
No, it was
So you
formula.
hadn't pumped or anything like that? I was just
No,
wondering.
because obviously you only get
Yeah,
your
of
colostrum,
course.
don't you?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had nothing to give, and
Yeah.
I'm not like anti-formula
No,
by
no.
any means or anti-bottle. It was
No.
just that, like, it's what I did with Louis. What
It's just what
to
you
do
wanted
again,
to do,
yeah.
and everyone has their own.
Yeah.
So I was like, 100% give her the formula, do it how it needs to be done. Like, I don't want her to be hungry.
Yeah,
I'll
she
figure
needs
out
to be
feeding
fed.
at a later date. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. And then it was about midday, and I was like, can we go home now? It was the weekend. My parents were at home. And I was like, come on, I
Oh.
really want to get home and
Yeah.
like show
Show
my
the
parents the
baby.
baby.
Yeah.
And they were like, yes, we just need to do like the proper checks before you go.
Yeah.
And the nurse came in and did do you know, like the oxygen
Yeah.
levels?
Yeah.
And I'll just never forget seeing the numbers being 85 and
Oh, right,
thinking
yeah,
like, oh
yeah.
God, like 85, that
Yeah,
seems
they
low.
always say under 92, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah.
that's a-
And she was like, oh, that can't be right, and turned off the machine, turned it on again. And then I think they got like 92, 93 or something.
Right.
But it actually was right. The first
the first
reading,
one.
which
Yeah.
got ignored.
Oh dear.
But then they took her out to do the checks, which I think was also like the first sign that like they weren't doing it
In front
next
of
to
you.
me.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, something is not right here. Like, I just had a feeling. I didn't know what it was. But I had fake nails, and I remember I bit them all off in this
Oh,
time because
yeah,
it just like I just
Anxiety.
knew.
Yeah.
And then they took us out of the room. Really weird, into the breastfeeding room of all rooms.
Oh,
Wow.
gosh.
And they were like,
Wow.
so we have something like to tell you. Your baby has a cleft palate. And I was just kind of like,
Wow.
but I didn't really know what it meant.
No.
And I was like, well, I knew a cleft lip was,
Yeah.
you know, when
Yeah,
it's
yeah, because that is visible.
yeah, but I was like, I actually don't really know what a cleft palate is. And I think Harry thought that they were going to say that she had like cystic fibrosis because
Yeah.
of how snuffly
Yeah,
and
with the
stuff
breathing and the-
she was. And from there, like it felt like surreal, like, you know, when something just
blur.
doesn't feel like, like you're in a dream.
Out of body experience.
Yeah, and then that night they got the cleft palate nurse to come from Liverpool. It was like a Saturday night, and it was amazing, I must say. Like, although the first little bit was a little bit messy,
Yeah.
from that moment, once they like knew that she had a cleft palate, the nurse came from Liverpool at like 10 p.m. Came with all of these different bottles that you could use for feeding, because with a cleft palate, it's obviously a hole in the roof of the mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
You can see right up to like the nasal septum, so it's all
Wow.
open,
Yeah.
which is why when you feed, like, they can't
No.
latch, they can't make suction, because to
Yeah.
make suction it
You
has to
need
be
the
closed
palate,
off.
Yeah.
So we knew that she wasn't going to be able to breastfeed, but it was also she couldn't use a regular bottle
Yeah,
because
so
of
that
the
wouldn't
suction.
have worked either if you got into hospital
Exactly.
wanting
Yeah.
to do the standard formula.
Yeah.
That you'd have been in
bottle.
the same position.
Really,
Yeah.
that
So
would
what
have-
did they
Um,
say about
so
what
the-
you had to do?
There's two like specialist bottles, like Dr. Brown and Mam ones that you can't buy in the shops, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And the Mam one, you had to like squeeze it, and you had to like time it every like few sucks.
Wow.
Like, you'd be like, do one, count to three, do it again, and like we just had to learn how to do it basically.
But like doing all that in the midst of just having a
Oh,
Oh
baby,
yeah, just being a
like all the
new
other
mum again.
stuff that you've just
Yeah.
gone through has sort of had to be forgotten.
yeah.
And your other one's only young as
And your other
well.
one's
as
only
well.
young,
Yeah, it was at
yeah.
home, like, and so yeah, we ended up getting discharged that night at like midnight, because I just
Yeah,
wanted to go
yeah,
home. I was
yeah.
like, please, like, just let me go home. Like, we know what we're doing now.
We'll
She's
figure it
taken a
out.
bottle. She seems fine. Like, it was in our minds, like, it's just the feeding that's the issue. So we got home. I didn't know that if you left the hospital after like you've had a baby, you wouldn't go back on to the neonatal ward.
No.
You then go on a normal ward.
No, I wouldn't have known
I
that.
kind of wish I'd known.
Yeah.
But so we left, and then the next morning, the Cleft team came out. They gave me like a medical grade breast pump so that I could like give her my milk. They gave us sort of like leaflets and information. It was brilliant.
Wow.
And then I also sent a video to the Cleft nurse who had been assigned to me of Emmy sleeping, because she sounded like a little piglet.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really obstructing. She literally sounded like
Yeah.
Like a pig
I wanted
snorting.
the
And that
example, but you can
worries
imagine.
you because that's technically breathing, isn't it? So
Yeah.
if those noises, and because you've had another one and know that, you
Yeah.
know, that you didn't have them noises.
Yeah, she was so noisy when she was asleep. So I sent this video, and I got a phone call at like 4 p.m. being like, can you bring her back into the Starlight ward in Wythenshawe so we can take a look at her, and we're going to do a sleep study. And so went back into the
Oh
hospital,
my God.
and they did the sleep study, which is where they like link them up and check their oxygen levels overnight.
Yeah.
That study came back like so bad that they were like, that has to be wrong, we're going to do it again. So they did it again the second night, and they're like, no, that's actually correct, you're going to have to go to Greater Manchester Children's Hospital and stay there. And we'd had like
Oh
a
my
private
God.
room at Wythenshawe. It was actually quite nice. Like
Yeah.
we had quite a nice time. I went to M&S and got
Yeah.
a new pair of
It's lovely
pajamas
down
and
there.
watched
Yeah.
Clarkson's Farm on their
Yeah.
iPad, and it was
Oh.
like a bit surreal.
Yeah,
And
that helps.
then we went to Greater Manchester Children's Hospital, and I thought we were going to just like get in the car and go to there, but they transported us like in the ambulance, and she had to be like
Wow.
monitored constantly. And when we got there, it was like a ward full of like 4 other families, all there for different reasons.
Yeah.
We had a bed that pulled out of the cupboard, you know, like it
That
was a
type
tiny
of
little
thing.
cupboard
Yeah.
bed.
Not the most comfortable scenario.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And we ended up being in the hospital for like 5 weeks, because it turned out she didn't just have the cleft palate. She has something called PRS, which is Pierre Robin sequence. And there's not that much information on it or how it happens.
So it's quite rare.
Quite rare, yeah. It's not a genetic thing. So we got it genetically tested.
Yeah,
It was
the
nothing to
genetic
do with the
syndromes, yeah.
genes. It was more they think that it's potentially during like week 7 to 11 when the baby is in the womb. Obviously their chin is tucked into their chest, isn't it? That stage of like fetal development. And it basically means that their tongue is in the way of their palate
Oh,
forming.
wow.
It's a sequence of events that has
Right.
gone wrong rather than a syndrome. It's
Right,
like
yeah.
Got
it
you.
is actually a miracle when you think of all the tiny things that have to happen in perfect succession
Yep.
for a baby to be born completely
Yeah,
healthy.
Mhm.
And just that small thing of like her chin was recessed and smaller, which meant her tongue was there, and when the fibers should have fused together for
palate.
palate,
Couldn't.
it couldn't.
Couldn't.
So she had like a
Right.
tongue-shaped hole that was
Wow.
Oh
up to
my
there,
gosh. That
which
is
then like
mind-blowing.
affects her breathing and airways. It affects her ears, so like ENT is involved.
Mhm.
It can affect so many
Everything.
things that like you would never even think about.
God.
So they diagnosed that from like just investigating the mouth, or was
Yeah.
bloods needed, and I
It-
mean, I guess they did everything anyway, but
Yeah, so it was diagnosed basically from the fact that she had like a smaller recessed chin, difficult breathing and feeding. I think that's pretty much it. It's like
yeah,
if you look at pictures of PRS online, like
Yeah.
it's they have a smaller chin.
yeah, so that's the visible.
And then
way to see it.
then the
Oh
cleft
my
palate. But
God.
I know a girl who is very close to home. Her boys went to the same school as Louis at the same time, and her little girl was in hospital the same time as us with a cleft palate, but she didn't have PRS. Like
Yeah.
she had a completely normal
Yeah,
size chin.
so they
and
don't always
she-
go hand in hand.
Yeah.
It's more of a rare.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the issue with us mainly was the breathing. That
Yeah.
when she lay down to sleep at night,
It was like
she
a
couldn't
pig,
get
like
enough
you said.
oxygen. To be able to be allowed home
Yeah.
from the hospital, I had to learn how to insert a nasal pharyngeal airway, I think it
Wow.
is an MPA, which is like quite a thick tube. that goes up the nose and down the back of the
Wow.
throat.
So
Which
you had to learn how to put that in.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, the first time I even saw it being inserted, like I've never had that feeling where I felt like my legs could buckle.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I couldn't even describe how it felt, like hearing her cry, and they have to like swaddle them, like obviously restrain them even though they're tiny babies, and
Yeah.
I can't bear
it's
it.
obviously really painful. It's, if you think the feeding tubes that often babies have,
Mhm.
that's quite thin
Yeah.
really, whereas this is, it has to be thick enough that it would keep her tongue from falling into the back of her throat and blocking
Wow.
off the air.
And half of you's
Um,
thinking, I'm never going to be able to do that.
Oh,
But
well,
the
Yeah.
other half is
would
like,
think.
I've got to do it and I
Yeah.
will do it because it's my
I
child.
really didn't want to do it. Like I remember crying and be like, I cannot do this. I want to like
And do you do it
find
once and then it's
once
done?
a week.
What-
And if it
once a
came out more,
week?
yeah. And I started like messaging people who I knew who were nurses, being like, please, can I like implore you? Will you come around once a
Yeah.
week? I'll give you whatever for
Yeah.
just to put this airway in because I just
'Cause you
can't
want
do
to know
it.
it's being done right, don't you, as
Yeah.
well? And you're thinking, if I'm not doing it right, then that's the
Yeah.
pressure on
But
me.
also going through the torture of your baby
yeah.
like
in this state,
Yeah.
and you're the one doing it, is just like
that is something that like
unfathomable
will
to me.
always stick with me.
Yeah.
Is that like
Yeah.
I remember like looking at, like thinking, she is looking at me
Yeah.
as the person who should be like protecting her and like keeping her from pain, and she's looking at me thinking like, why is my
Are you putting
like
this pain
mum
on
doing this
me?
to me? Like
Yeah.
I get
that was
you.
the hardest
It's so
part of
hard.
it. But
Horrendous.
the nurses, they were like, you have to learn because that is the thing that's keeping her alive, and if that
Yeah.
comes out, like then you need to be able to reinsert it that
So obviously
night.
that first time will have been just horrific.
Yeah.
Goes without saying. Did you get this into being able to do it quicker?
Yeah.
So therefore it was less painful
Yeah.
for Emmy because you were able to just
So
get on with it.
it was meant to be both me and Harry who were trained in it. And then I think like after I'd done it the first time,
Yeah.
I was like, I know, because you kind of feel for resistance at the top
Okay.
of the nasal bridge,
Mhm.
and that's when you have to then turn it to go down.
Right.
I was like, I know where that resistance is, and I feel like women have much lighter hands
Touch.
Yeah.
than men,
Yeah.
and I just was like, I just want to be the only person to do it now.
No, I get
like
Now that you've done
I
it.
get
Yeah,
that, yeah. It just gives you peace of mind. You know, you've done
I'm
it
gonna
right.
do my
and
absolute.
I can
Like
do
I
it.
felt like
Yeah.
nobody would do it how I
Yeah.
would do it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
from
it's
then
a
I
typical
just
mum
was like,
thing,
I'm the one
yeah.
who does it, and Harry would typically like help with the swaddling. He'd
Yeah.
be there with the like the stickers ready to like strap it down.
That's really
And
good.
we both learned, we had to do like a course on how to suction it because it would get like filled with like milk and everything. So I had to carry around this machine when we got out the
Sorry.
hospital for like
Yeah.
5 months. I had this suction machine that I had to take everywhere and, you know, give her like a suction out of the tubes. But it's crazy looking back because I'm like, that feels like a lifetime
lifetime,
ago, and it was so hard at the time. But
How you've adapted
now
and how you did
she's
it, yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. She's the most resilient little girl ever. Like, really, apart from she has speech and language now once a week to help with the way that she pronounces
Yeah.
things, because obviously when she was learning to pronounce things,
She couldn't in the
she
way.
couldn't because you have to use your palate for a lot of speech.
Yeah.
And she had her first surgery at 1.
Wow.
And obviously I was 3 months pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
and then
that as well.
Yeah. And then she had another surgery when she was nearly 2 to like reduce the size of her tongue to make her airway
But like
a little bit
Yeah.
clearer. Yeah.
And did you find anyone online that had the same thing? Like any sort of support from communities or anything like that?
Yeah. So like I documented a lot of it when I was in the hospital. Like for myself, really, it was almost like therapy.
Yeah, therapy, yeah.
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 And I
remember
often
doing that.
think people probably thought like, you're in hospital with your baby, like what you doing on Instagram? But I think if you've ever been in hospital with your child, you realize
Yeah.
there's actually not a lot else
No.
to do.
No.
Like you can't just sit there and hold. She was linked up to so many machines and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't just be over the whole
No,
time.
no.
And
And
they
also
sleep so
your-
much when they're a newborn. I
And
just
also your mental state is like, I actually crave somebody who's been through this.
need some connection.
Yeah,
and
and
like,
if somebody can say,
yeah.
I know someone who had that, or I've heard
Yeah.
this, like that's what you want at that time.
Yeah. And we were very like, so Harry had to be at home with Louis while I was at the hospital. So we were like ships that passed in the night the entire time. So I didn't really have anybody else to talk to. So I basically put everything on that was going on and to update friends and family, but also whoever
Yeah.
else. And a few people connected me with others that we knew. who were in similar situations, and that was really helpful.
Was there any
And-
sort of negative associated with being in sort of online community with people who'd
Like
experienced
being
the same
so
thing?
open
Yeah,
about.
I would say the one negative thing that I found was on the PRS groups or the cleft palate groups that I joined for just general advice on what to do with everything. I was reading a lot of the comments and I was like, oh God, like this sounds really hard. Like this child is going through this and they're 7. And, you know, I was thinking, what is this journey going to be? Because there was a lot of negative
Yeah.
things on there.
Yeah.
But one thing that has always stuck with me is that a mum like sent me a private message and she was like, I just want to let you know things are going to get better. The first year with PRS children is the hardest year you're going to have. And then after that, it will get easier, which was so true. But obviously, I was 2 weeks in thinking,
Yeah.
what
how am
what
I
is this
gonna get-
life going to be? I don't know
Yeah.
what this means for us
It's
as a
the
family or
unknown.
for her.
Yeah.
And she was like, and also all of these people who are active on these online communities are going through the toughest times, and that's why they're
Yeah,
on these
that's
online communities.
exactly. Yeah, it
Like
is
I don't
always
look
that.
at them anymore. I don't
Yeah.
go on the PRS
No.
Facebook group anymore. I don't go on the cleft palate stuff anymore. Like
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
So the people who are really thriving aren't on there being like, by the way, we're thriving.
I think that's what mums have to remember, isn't
They
it?
sort
Yeah.
of use it and
It
then you sort
is,
of just
yeah.
because you're so busy, you've got to focus on your
Yeah.
life. You
The
forget
ones,
about that
yeah.
community,
Yeah.
don't
And
you?
with any
Yeah.
problem or like with any, if children have got syndromes or, you know, even
Mhm.
like development delays, it is all like the ones who do tend to like improve or, you know, they feel like they can move away from online help and communities. That's why you don't see them in the group. So it
Yeah.
is just like you said, it does tend to be the worst case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And did have people come to you and they found you because you've been so open about the story?
Yeah.
You've been able to help somebody because you've shared it.
Yeah, yeah. I've had like I still get messages of people who I guess are maybe like searching like hashtag PRS
Yeah,
and
yeah.
things like that, and they've found us and they've said like I've seen your pictures now and also what you went through at the beginning. We're right there in the hospital. They're doing what I did, searching
Yeah.
for like comfort that things are going to get better.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really nice. Like
Yeah, and
to
that's
know
what I
that.
love about that is the good side of social media. I think it's really nice when mums feel like they can.
Yeah.
It's just the worst when you feel like you are openly sharing so that you can help people and reach out, and then you get like mums that reply to you and they suddenly know more about what it is than you
Yeah.
do. Like
And
I
they
have
think
that with
the
my
doctors.
little girl.
Mm.
Yeah, there's been loads of times though, like my little girl was born really small and she had an airway disorder. She's had a lot of difficulties with like physical like movement, and she was in physio for 18 months. And the amount of people that would respond to me on Instagram and say she's going to need splints when she starts walking, she's going to need this, and I was just sometimes
It's
like
just can't
sometimes it would
even-
Like
floor me, you know, when we've had a good
diagnosing
week.
your child,
Yeah,
like
and then I would think, oh well, have I asked for that because I've been so open sharing?
Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah.
like, oh, am I doing right or wrong? Like there's pros and cons, isn't there?
And do you
It's
feel
really
the same
tough.
about sharing Emmy's story? Do you feel the same a bit like, am I doing the right thing sharing
so
it?
tough, isn't it? Like I think there's so many opinions online, and it is a bit scary.
Yeah.
Like even what you guys
Yeah.
do is scary.
Yeah.
Like you're putting yourself out there, being really
Yeah,
open and honest. And I think
Everyone's always going to have a different opinion
somebody
on
is always
something.
gonna like, and people are very opinionated on the internet.
Mm.
So yeah, you have to have a bit of
Yeah.
a tough exterior, don't you? To
Yeah.
like,
I've
but
only recently stopped, and I haven't completely stopped, but I used to share a lot about Olivia. And she had surgery at 3 months. And I remember posting, like not posting the surgery, obviously, but I posted when I was in hospital waiting for her to come out of surgery. And there's been loads of like therapies we've had over the years that I've openly shared. And it's only now really that I have stopped. And it was more because now she's starting school, like we know so many more people, and they don't just know me and my baby. Like Olivia is a person now.
yeah,
And sometimes I thought, I don't want her to start school and everyone's like, oh yeah, I've seen on Instagram that she had this at this age and this and that. And oh my God, she had this. My mum shares physio videos of her and she's in a nappy. And,
yeah,
you know, and you just like, maybe it's the time that I fade them out a bit. But I still, like from time to time, will share updates. But
Yeah.
it has affected me in a way, like how other people perceive it.
yeah. It's a
But,
really difficult
yeah.
thing to navigate.
But 5 years down the line, I still get mums coming to my page saying, oh, my friend told me, because Olivia had laryngomalacia, which is an airway disorder. And people will say, my friend told me about your page. can you help me? Can I send you some videos? Is this what it is? And
So asking you to try and diagnose their child.
because they don't know, because it's not really like that common.
No.
And they'll say, oh, here's some videos, and then they want my opinion on it. And that's when I'm like, I'm so glad I did share, because I didn't have anyone to send videos to. And everyone just,
you can actually end up being a bit of a lifeline to those parents who are in a really difficult, dark time.
So I mean, I'm all for sharing and raising awareness, but that's coming from me, who doesn't ever think anything negative of people, or like be like, oh, why are you doing that? Yeah, I'm just like, everyone should help each other, but unfortunately the online world isn't always like that. So.
Yeah,
you don't know who you're going to get.
That's so true.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that story on Emmy. Please like, subscribe and comment when you can.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in and listening to us again. I hope you found this one really insightful. It's nice to explore different topics in motherhood, and especially when you've not quite planned for what's going to happen with your children, because sometimes you just don't know what you're going to be dealing with, what cards you're going to face. Thank you very much, and catch you again soon.
See you soon.